With Shadowlands coming out very soon, and all of us excited to start playing new content in a while, some players will be looking to start healing for the first time. Healing can be extremely rewarding and make you a pivotal member in a team, whether it be dungeons or raids. However, healing for the first time can be a little stressful and feel like a new game compared to playing a DPS class for a period of time. This is exactly how I felt when I switched over to Resto Druid from playing a DK, Hunter, and a Warlock. The purpose of this video is to share, in my opinion, healing classes or specs that I believe will be the easiest to understand when healing for the first time. Keep in mind, these are my thoughts and opinions, and not everyone might agree with that. So let's get started. Obviously, as a Druid player and a Resto Druid main, I'm gonna be biased about picking this class, as I've played it the most out of all the healers, but also from that experience, I can say that healing for the first time on a Druid is relatively easy, as your HOTS or heals over time spells do the healing for you. The gameplay of the Resto Druid is that we use our HOTS to slowly heal our targets over a certain period. So instead of healing a person for a flat amount as soon as the cast finishes, we heal that amount over a time period. There is pros and cons with this type of healing. The pro is that we can heal a lot of people at the same time, whereas say a Holy Pally, most of their abilities let them heal only one person at a time. It is good because say a player is at full health but takes damage, if the HOT is still going, the player will start being healed immediately without you having to do anything. The cons of the healing style is that if someone needs a lot of healing immediately, we aren't great at getting people's health up instantly outside of some few abilities. However, with good gameplay and gear, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Resto Druids are also the most mobile healer in the game, which is very nice for fights that require a lot of movement. A lot of our heals are instant casts, which allows us to do mechanics and still be able to heal, while other healers have to stop healing altogether and move. Also, as a Druid player, we have Shapeshift form, so if you need to travel a good distance in a short time period, the movement bonus when you turn into a cat will greatly help. Also, if we know we are going to take big damage, we can shapeshift into a bear and reduce some of the damage taken. Another great bonus of Resto Druids is that we are the only healer with a battle res. This is extremely huge for things like dungeons and raids, where you can B-res a tank or a DPS immediately, since we are the ones looking at everyone's health already. In terms of the meta, or how the general public views Resto Druids, is that we are one of, if not the best healers for Mythic Plus, due to the fact of how our HOTS work, allowing Resto Druids to easily heal groups through ticking damage, affixes, and so on. Also, cat weaving, which means DPSing in our cat form using some of Pharaoh's abilities, allows us to do some considerable amount of damage, which in turn will make the Mythic Plus dungeon go by faster. In raids, the Resto Druid has been viewed as an average healer in raids. We are known as a straight up HPS healer, since we don't have any raid damage reduction abilities like other healers. So in competitive progression fights, other healers might be favored since their abilities reduce the damage the raid takes and make some parts of the fight considerably easier. However, as an HPS healer, I would say we are still great in raids. Since we are the most mobile healer in the game, we can handle a lot of mechanics and still heal, which is a great plus. As well as having Tranquility and Incarn, or Tree form, which both are huge HPS cooldowns where a lot of healing goes out to the raid. We might not always be on top of the healing meters in raids, but healing meters should not be judged the same way as DPS meters. My experience in raids is as Resto Druids have always been great, and always tons of fun to throw out tons of rejues and being able to move around freely, and will always recommend the class. Holy Priest is the best example of a healer in any MMO. Their toolkit for both single target and AoE healing is just insane and is very easy to understand. Also, their playstyle revolves around holy words, one extremely good single target heal and the other an AoE heal. And you reduce their cooldown, which is a minute, by using their respective heals. So the more you use your AoE heals, you lower the cooldown on holy words. They can also be regarded as a hot healer technically, like Druids, based on how their mastery works. Their direct healing spells on a target also heals a percentage over 6 seconds on that person. And this translates to sometimes being your number one healing abilities in raids. Holy Priests have always been the highest throughput healer in past expansion in raids. If you check Warcraft logs for the past 3 expansion, Holy Priests are usually always on top in terms of HPS for raiding. So if you're looking to get those big HPS numbers and beat all the other healers in raids, Holy Priest is a great class to do so. One major downside I would say for the class is that it has a lot of casts compared to the Druid. A lot of their abilities are casts, which is not great for fights that require a lot of movement to deal with mechanics. Also, outside of their feather, their mobility is not great either, and probably one of the slowest healers out of all of them. So this is something to consider. In dungeons, Holy Priests are viewed as not the best or the worst, but in the middle of the pack for healer rankings. They can throw out a lot of healing, which will always be needed, but their DPS is not great compared to other healers. A lot of their damaging abilities make them not have to stop healing altogether in order to DPS, whereas other healers DPS as part of the rotation or can do it while healing. However, this won't mean a Holy Priest cannot time high keys, as I've seen many skilled Holy Priests push plus 17s, plus 18s very early in Season 4 of BFA. You as a healer won't be contributing much DPS to the group, but can still perform just fine. In my opinion, I believe that Holy Priest is the best healing spec to pick up if you are new to healing and looking to get into it. The abilities and rotation is very, very easy to grasp and understand, and the sheer amount of raw healing you can do regardless of being geared or correct stats is just insane. Mistweaver Monks have always been very fun and refreshing whenever I play this class. They are the strongest single target healer in the game, and no other healer can come even close. Their playstyle revolves around using your abilities while channeling Soothing Mist, and Renewing Mist, which is a hot, being a smart heal. Instead of staying on a target for the entire duration like Reju for Druids, Renewing Mist jumps to the next target that needs healing once its initial target has reached full health. This means that you don't need to worry about overhealing as much and waste your mana, as the game helps you manage your abilities for you. Also, whenever you use your single target heal, Vivify, all targets with the Renewing Mist hot will also receive a good chunk of healing because of how Vivify works. This is very similar to how Holy Paladins can heal others with Glimmer. They also have excellent AoE raid healing as well. With their instant healing cooldown Revival, you can top up the raid instantly with one button press, as well as Essence Fa, which is a channel that you can use while moving that heals party members around you. Mistweaver's mobility is also very good, and is probably behind Druid as being the most mobile healer in the game. They have access to Roll or Chi Torpedo and Tiger's Lust if talented into it. One downside, or a big learning curve when it comes to Mistweaver Monks, is how to manage your mana more so than other healers. Since Mistweaver Monks can just dump heals onto people in a very short time period, we can burn through our mana very quickly. However, just like any other healer class, we will have to learn how to manage our mana, and that will just come with time, and the more we run a dungeon or do a boss fight, the better we will know how to approach it and when to use our mana. In terms of how the general population views Mistweaver Monks, in dungeons they are very good healers to bring. They are the only class in the game that applies the Mystic Touch debuff, which makes targets take 5% increased physical damage, which is also very useful in raids. They also have great CC in terms of Leg Sweep, Ring of Peace, and Paralysis. So Mistweavers can really help control the flow of a dungeon and help their tanks out if they need to run away or pull a little bit too many adds. Since they have the best single target healing in the game, you don't have to worry about too much when healing your tank compared to other healers. For raids, Mistweavers are pure HPS healers. So in terms of the meta or in high competitive progression, they aren't viewed as highly due to the fact they don't bring any damage reduction to the raid, and their healing cooldown Revival is pretty weak compared to other healing cooldowns in terms of HPS throughput. However, Mistweaver Monks for me are viewed as reactive healers, so you don't have to anticipate the damage or prepare for it. When we see the damage, we start healing immediately. Since Mistweavers are very good at reactive healing, the term snipe healing comes into play, meaning you can heal or top someone off faster than say other healers and make their healing abilities useless or overheal. For heroic rating, Mistweavers are generally usually on the top based on how heroic is mostly reactive healing based, so we will always excel in that area. Overall, with how smart heals work on Mistweavers, it's very nice that the game helps manage some of the healing for you, and I think it's great for beginner healers. Monks are very mobile, and you will never have a hard time healing a tank or a single target. Overall, these three healers in my opinion are the best healers for beginner healers to choose from. However, they might be easy to understand than other healers, but like any other class in the game, the more you play the spec, you will get better understanding of the quirks and how you can use your class's potential in a fight. All these classes are viable in both high Mythic Plus keys and in Mythic raids, so don't let that deter you from picking these classes. At the end of the day, you should pick the class that fits you and what you enjoy as well. For me, some of the things that factor into my decision making is the other specs that the class has to offer. Since I don't really quest or do solo content as a Resto Druid, I am always in balance spec when doing those, and I enjoy how balance is played and it's relatively simple. Also, the transmog of the class is a factor for me as well, even though leather is probably the worst armor in the game in terms of looks, but Druid has some great sets and half the time we're in our shapeshift form too, so it's not a huge deal. Hopefully you found this video informational and help your decision making if you're looking into getting into healing for the first time or picking another healer class to play in the start of Shadowlands. If you have any questions, comment down below or message me on my Discord server. I'm always glad to help. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys in the next one.